Do you want to create a family tree on Ancestry that looks great and is super functional? Wonderful. I want to share with you a couple of things that you can do to make that happen. Now, some of you are more loyal and fans and experienced Ancestry users, so I invite you to go ahead and watch this video, and if you do like it, make sure you share it with your genealogy buddies so they can create an enhanced family tree as well. As you build your tree, you should be sharing photos that you have gathered, particularly of your close family members, as well as places you've been and documents you have gathered. So let's make sure you know how to upload a photo. To add a photo to a profile, all you have to do is make sure you navigate to the Galleries tab. So if you're on Facts, click on Gallery, and then click Upload Media. You can also click on the icon if you're adding a first picture to someone. So I'm actually going to go that way, upload, and I'm going to drag and drop my picture from my desktop onto the work's surface. Now I can go ahead and add details about Helen's picture. I can say it's a portrait, I can say when it was taken, the place, and so on, but I'm going to go ahead and click done. Another thing, if you have multiple people in the pictures, you can also add this picture to the multiple people, but it's just one person, so I'm going to click done. And now I have a picture of Helen to decorate the family tree. Now, this is an underutilized feature that is on Ancestry, and that is MyTreeTags. In the description box, you're going to find a link to the show notes that will take you to a whole series about the MyTreeTags. But for now, let me show you how to tag your tree. So let's say I know a number of things about Helen Corey Teller. Now, I'm going to just pretend for a little bit. Some things are true, not everything is true, but we're going to go ahead and add tree tags. So click on this little icon right here. There are a number of different things I can choose from: DNA, life experience, relationships, research status. So I'm actively researching Helen. Is she complete? No, she's not complete. Let's say that she had no children, and let's say that she was a teacher. Now I added this custom tag, and you can watch that video on how to create custom tags, and I'm going to go ahead and add that. Notice I can hit view save tags and it's all saved, but I don't have to do anything. I don't have to hit save or anything, and all these tags are right here under her profile. Other people will be able to see these tags if your tree is public. They will not be able to edit those tags, which is kind of nice. But let's say you find out, oh no, actually Helen actually had a child. So we'll go back and we'll remove that tag, and now we just have these two and we're good to go. Did you know that you can serve as a source citation for the knowledge that you have? If you know the name of your parents, if you know what day that you celebrated their birthday, you can be your own source. Now let's pretend that you actually knew Helen Corey Teller in person, and let's pretend that you actually attended her funeral. So what you can do is you can create a source of your knowledge. So we're going to click add source, and we can select a source. So anytime you add a source to the tree, it will be populated here. But we're going to create a new source. Title required. So for a personal source about myself, I'm going to say personal knowledge. The author is me. Where I lived and my publication date. I'm going to skip all of this information, and I'm going to click Save the Source. Now, we're going to go through and say what are the specifics of the information provided by the source. This is just for transcription of text. This is going to be anything that you know. So for instance, let's pretend I had attended the funeral of Helen Corey Teller. I can go ahead and put that information and then say I can attest to when and where she was buried. Now we're going to go and select the facts that I can attest to, and then I'm going to hit submit. And now if I click personal knowledge, you're going to see that my knowledge of my relative is connected to the death date and the burial date. As you do genealogical research, you probably have a lot of notes that you're taking. Ancestry has a built-in note-taking service that can help you keep your notes where you research. So click on this tree tag edit icon. There's some other ways to get to it, but we're going to click on that one. Click on notes, and now we have a place to write our notes. Now, your note can be anything. Your note can be something about where people are from or what you need to do. Your notes will be private, only for you, but if you decide to add a comment, you could add a comment like this, and then that is made available for anybody who comes across your public tree. Notice the comments will pop up right here. Your notes will pop up there. Now, did you know that you can add more details to the events that are listed in the timeline and in that profile? By adding extra details to these little snippets, you can visually keep track of your ancestors, their movements, and the things that happened in their life. So let's start documenting the extra details we discovered. Now, as you're doing research, you're going to stumble across some facts that you're going to want to keep track of. So I know that she lived at house number 710 on Walnut Street. But if I go back to the profile, all I have is that her residence is in Windsor. But I can change that. I can click edit. And now I can add in a description, 710, and I can decide whether I want to show that on a map. And this will show this life event in those stories, automatically generate a story, and save. Click all of that. You're going to see that residence, the Windsor stays the same, and then Walnut Street is now added. You can add all sorts of information here. The occupation, who she was living with, the property value that they specify, how many days they worked, any detail that's on that census record you can put right here. And that will help you keep track of all the different details, because notice this is nice, but something like this is better. It's time to start looking at the profiles on your family tree. This is especially helpful if you are new to genealogy, but it's also a good reminder for those who have been doing research for a little while. Let's go look at the timeline. So here is the timeline page. Often we come into the profile pages when we're on something that looks like this. But click on the life story, and Ancestry is going to create the sentences. If you had that setting that said, hey, automatically create the life stories, then they'll show up on here. But as you can see, and I go down, we've got birth and residence, birth of brother, another residence, marriage, death of father, death of mother, death of husband, and so on and so forth. So this is basically her life story. And some paragraph forms. I really like when they include some maps. And there are some settings you can actually change this up a little bit. Click on this drop down arrow, and you can turn on and off historical insights. And then it can impact your tree. I'm not seeing any historical insights in this particular tree, but I know I've had them in my Ohio families that I've researched, and my Canadians, and so on and so forth. So get familiar with this timeline, and you're thinking, how am I going to get this timeline to work? Well, that comes from when you add information to this sheet right here. Initially, you probably had a form that looks like this when you started building your tree. Hey, I need a person's name. I need to know the birth date, birthplace, death place. And when you click save, then those two, the birth and the death, automatically show up for any time you add a new relative. The fact that I have the birth and death dates for her father and her spouse, that also feeds into the life story. And notice these records, or these resident information, are tied to records. And that is what feeds the timeline when you see 1920, 1930, and 1940. All those records feed that timeline. So get really familiar with the timeline. So what other enhancements to your family tree am I missing? Make sure you leave a comment in the comment section below. And if you're ready to learn how to do more things with Ancestry.com, be sure to check the playlist above. And if you want the latest video from Family History Fanatics, check out this video right here. Hey guys, if you noticed that I had a clothing wardrobe shift during the end of this video, it's because I butchered the end. So yeah, good call.